often by the time I've been called in, things are a mess. Things are, conflict is usually at an all-time high, gossiping, side-taking, adversarial processes, perhaps even legal processes are in place, and the pressure cooker is set to explode. And so I talk about this as putting in the plumbing. So it's like someone built a house or an office or a building of some description, and everything, the taps and the sink and the toilet and the central heating, all looks beautiful, but actually it doesn't drain anywhere. There's nowhere for it to drain. And so nobody put in a sewage system to remove all the waste. And by the time I've been asked to come in, generally what's happened is the sewage is coming up through the floorboards, and there's a huge amount of mopping up to do before you can even then put the plumbing in. And I like that analogy because a lot of what we do when we're in conflict is actually, it's sewage. It serves, it's just waste product, and it takes up a huge amount of resource. Being in an adversarial position and being in an argument with other people uses up a huge amount of personal and organisational resource. So when I go into an organisation, the first thing we do is we just listen. We talk and we listen and we understand and we get a picture of what's going on. And, clearly I've developed a model called the dialogue roadmap, and we have our ways of doing that. But the first thing really is understanding from everyone's point of view how they are experiencing the current situation. And that involves listening at every level, which is not the same as taking a brief from the senior management team or from the head of the household. And my starting point is never assume nothing, be open to hearing anything, and come into it, okay, although I have skill, wisdom, experience, knowledge, been around the block many times, it's still coming with innocence and naivety to allow the energy of the situation to show itself and see what is manifesting through the people at all levels of that community. Interestingly enough, what's quite difficult in the world we live in is that most commissioners, or organisations or people that ask me to come in, what they want me to do is tell them the end result and work backwards and tell how we're going to push people through some kind of process in order to get to this point that's been predetermined. And actually, that's just another form of control. And so it can be quite challenging for an organisation to understand that we're going to begin where we begin, and we're going to be open to wherever this takes us. Because usually by the time things have got to this stage, the people on the ground floor are feeling oppression, or they're experiencing a tightness or a tension or a conflict that means that they're full up. They're full up. And so what we need to do is allow things to open up. And that's quite difficult for organisations that are working on rules and policies and procedures and following everything to the letter. And yet, if your policies and procedures do not focus as much on relationships as it does, the tasks or the rules or the laws, then you're probably always going to end up in this place, just to varying degrees of pain.